All right, what's up, everybody? Did I say what's up? What's up, everybody? Welcome back to I Lost My Podcast. I'm your girl, Michi G, author of the book I Lost My Mom, Now What? Memoir of a Motherless Daughter. And you can purchase that and check that out on Amazon just by typing in that title or type in Michi G. I'll pop up. But anyway, we also have our other co-host.
What's up? It's
Who you want to be today?
I'm gonna be myself first and foremost. No identity crisis here.
Okay.
But welcome from me, Husky Hefe, the fat fitness model, Jose Cortez. As long as you call me a good name, hey, we in there. And I'm happy to be here. And y'all be on the lookout for my book coming soon, man.
Ooh, you want to give him a teaser?
No, I can't give y'all a teaser, but I'm in the works of a book, so y'all just make sure y'all stick with me, and we're gonna take this to the moon, back and back again.
We're about to have two authors in the household. Amen, somebody, all right? But anyway, so today's topic, I came up with today's topic. It's a really good one, I think. But before we get into that, let's check in. You know, we got to start every episode with checking in. And again, we're going to do this Dora the Explorer style. So if you want to answer at home, answer along with us, do these exercises, things like that. But we're going to check in. So Pooh, how are you feeling today? How's your mental?
It was a tussle getting to this point as far as getting prepped for the podcast and things like that. On a scale of 1 to 10, and 10 being the best, I'm going to have to say, honestly, I'm at about a 6. But that's a moving 6, a progressive 6, because I feel after this podcast, I will have, I don't know, podcasting uplifts me. So it gives me reason, gives me purpose. So I feel like I'm going to be at a 10, to be honest. And if I'm not at a 10, I'm going to do it again. No.
Okay, Ron, that was a bar. So
My bad. Let me.
Right, he just forgot about me.
How about you? And guys, sometimes don't forget to ask the women how they feel. You know? So, how are you doing today? How is your mental? Scale of 1 to 10, take it away.
Today is a good day. We got some snow overnight. So that was pretty cool, even though we've been having 60, 70 degree weather. My mental's good today. A little bit agitated because we had a lot going on, like he said, with setting up. Like, it's so much that goes into recording a podcast that I don't think anybody realizes. And we're trying to make it work with what we have. On top of a train being close by, coming by, interrupting, on top of noisy neighbors who I think we have elephants that live on top of us because they're loud. But aside from all that, it's a good day, you know? This morning, at the start of us setting up, I probably would have said it was a 6, but I'm going to say it's moved up to about a 7.5. I think my mental is good today. A little agitated, but it's getting better. It's moving. So yeah. So hopefully you guys also checked in with us. Next, if you're new to the channel or this podcast, we also like to call upon our ancestors, those loved ones who came before us, that passed on before us. And so we call upon them for different things like strength, clarity, because we can't do this by ourselves with God, of course. But so
God, created universe, whatever you want to call it.
Yes. But our ancestors guide us on a day-to-day basis, so that's why we're calling upon them. Who are you calling on today? Which ancestor?
So I'm going to take it away today. Today I'm going to call upon. I need a little more patience. I need a little more peace and serenity. So the one person comes to mind is my Uncle Alvin, man, and it's because he drove trucks for a living, but on that road, I feel like he was peaceful and he was in his happy place, you know? And I need his type of peace and patience today, just to make it through. Like I said, I'm on a 6, and we took a step away to come back, but I'm on a 6. So I'm trying to get past that 6. So to get to that 10, because if I don't get to that 10, I'm going to have to do it again.
Okay, so. Bars.
But yeah, I'm calling upon Uncle Avin. What about you? Who you calling upon?
I was trying to think because I also need patience. I need calm. I need clarity. I need something. Everything that I need, I feel my mother possessed. And I know I say that every episode I call upon her, but a girl needs her mother. So I'm going to call upon my mom to just guide my mental, guide my thoughts. Hopefully I say or Josh says something that resonates with someone that can help them. So I'm just calling upon my mother to also help me, just guide me, and so that whatever we say touches somebody today. So
Cool.
So yeah.
So that's who we calling upon.
Yes.
So take it away.
And well, before we get into the topic, we also do one last exercise where we breathe, stretch, shake, and let it go, just to let's warm up. When you wake up in the morning, you got to kind of loosen up them joints, take a deep breath. So that's what we do before we get into heavy topics. So again, do this with us. Everybody breathe in and breathe out. Loosen up them shoulders and stretch. Don't hit me in the face. Loosen up. And let it go. All right.
Shake it and let it out.
Yes, home shake with it. Hey.
Oh, we're to wise guys. I hope she didn't breathe in the mic because she's like.
Oh, did I? I'm sorry.
I try to blow up, but
I'm sorry. Yeah. I apologize. All right. So, let's go ahead and get into the topic. So, I came up with today's topic because I feel like when we lose people, especially people close to us, like our parents, like siblings, somebody close, not just like distant family members, I feel like nobody warned you what to expect with grief and how you're gonna feel. And so sometimes when we lose people, we end up handling things the wrong way, or we handle things a certain way and we're like, darn, is this normal, is this weird, is this like, and there's not a guideline or rule book or like a how to what to expect when you lose someone. So today we're going to talk about a few things of what no one tells you about with grief, what no one tells you when you lose someone. So no one told me about isolation. That's the first one. And when I say isolation, I know when I lost my mom, I got real distant. I got real distant from friends, from my family that I usually would call and hang out with, go get drinks and stuff with.
Right.
I didn't want to visit nobody. I just wanted to stay home. Friends would be like, "You want to go out, girls' night? You want to go out and go to Mexican and have drink?" Like I just didn't. I was like, I don't want to be around people. I just want to be at home, and I felt bad and guilty for that. Because I didn't know that was a common thing until I talked to other people and they were like, they went through the same thing. But yeah, isolation. No one tells them.
I think with isolation, I've seen it in, I've seen it in both cases of like a friend or a close one losing a mother. I've seen it in other people as well, but I've seen it first in I got a homeboy, B, and we never knew. I know we was younger. He lost his mom probably around 20 something, which is very young. And nevertheless, we used to be, I could say we were selfish. We were selfish.
As his friends.
But we didn't know any better. We were just, we kind of wondered like, where is our friend? Like, why aren't you coming around? We want you to be with us. We know what happened, and we just we wanted to love on him and stuff, as men, as brothers, but we couldn't because he was unavailable. And I get it. I seen it with you as well. You did the same thing. You isolated, and it wasn't a bad isolation. Now, in both of y'all cases, it wasn't isolating and doing drugs or anything like that or something to hurt y'all. I think y'all just had to really come to two and really think about what just really transpired. Like I just lost probably your longest friend, your most connected friend, to be honest, because you came from them. So
your life source.
Yeah. So I seen isolation a lot.
So you're saying you understand from the outside looking in, you understand. Now you get the reason why we isolate.
I didn't get the reason until you, my spouse, went through it.
Could you from the outside, like from a spouse's point of view looking in, why do you think we... Oh, hey guys. Hey. Sorry to interrupt your viewing of this podcast or listening to this podcast. But I have to say that if you want to be a super listener and support us, our improvements to our channel as we upgrade the more that we put out things on our platform, feel free to contribute whatever you feel like contributing, if any, to our Cash App, PayPal, and Venmo. And everything is lowercase. I lost my podcast. And just, donate whatever you feel like donating if you like to support what we have going on. So thank you guys so much for the love and for listening thus far. And I hope you continue to enjoy the podcast. Bye, guys. Isolate, though.
Like I said, it's just a lot of things that you got to figure out. Like, you got to figure out how, and y'all moms was, even him, his mom was his road dog. Like, seriously. And y'all have to figure out these things of like, how am I going to navigate without you? And you got to pull upon that strength and you got to answer those questions in your lonesome to understand, like, where am I going? I feel like that's what you're doing. You're like, where am I going?
That's true. Yeah.
So, and you need that alone time. Now, some people we know on the contrary or on the opposite, they want noise.
They want to be in the mix.
They want to be in the mix. They want noise. They want, but not necessarily partying. But we gotta make sure like that feeling of they need the crowdedness. You need that positive crowdedness. That okay, my girl's coming over every Wednesday and Thursday. We're gonna do nails. We're gonna hug. We're gonna kumbaya, whatever we got to do to make it through these days. Your tribe. So now. On the other end, you got to watch the other type of noise, which is, okay, now I got to go to the party. Now I got to keep bumping music to block out my thoughts. Like, because when you block it out, it's like you're using a substance or anything. You're using something to not help you feel. And
to
when
fill
you
a
don't,
void.
yeah, and when you don't feel, you're not available to no one. And you're not available to yourself, which needs you right now. Self needs self to figure this thing out. So
yeah. I also think, well, at least in my case, with losing my mom to breast cancer, I feel like I was there from the start to the very end, like literally her last moment. And that's a traumatic experience, to see somebody pass the way that, they do. And I think for me, a big part of why I isolated without even thinking about it, I just used all my strength to give to her, to let her know, Mom, it's going to be okay. We still going to beat this. Like, I know you don't feel your best, but you got this. You strong. I was pouring so much into her that once she passed, I realized how much I was drained after doing that, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like, I was giving her all my encouragement, giving to her all of my energy, and I didn't have any left. So I think I had, rather than be around people and try to fake like I'm strong and fake like, oh, I'm okay. Like, no, I needed time to recharge. I need that to get that energy back. Where's my encouragement? Like, let me figure out, because now I lost my encouragement. I poured into her, but she was my source of encouragement. And so without that, how do I,
To be honest, though, as like a friend, support system, friend, family member, whatever you is to that person going through it, just understand. If it's a quick check-in, like you okay, you alive, that's enough for them at that time. So, and always lead, if you okay, you alive, do you need anything? And you tell them, do you need anything? And anything you want to talk about, I'm here. Just let them know you're here. Don't try to overcrowd them if they're going through isolation, because I think that'll start resentment. Yeah. And it'll get deeper and deeper. So
yeah. I can say, though, at a certain point of isolation, I realized that, okay, I do have to start pushing myself back out there a little bit. I know I love I'm a homebody. If I don't have to leave this house, I'm not going to leave this house. But I realized I can't be that way forever. You still got to live your life. You still got to have fun. It does do something to have girl time and to be around, your girls and your friends and other family members. Like, that's a charge up moment too. Like, you got to do that. So you can't just be like, no, I'm just fine with being in the house. And I think prior to writing my book, I realized that with writing about isolation, I was like, darn, I actually do need to get out there more. I know I isolate, but I don't want this to be the new person that I am, where I'm just at home 24/7. Yeah.
So real quick, because while it's on my brain, so let's say a friend, a spouse, or anybody who's supporting you, should they? Because I think that's where we messed up with my homeboy. And I mean, we talk to him now. He's great, or I don't want to say great, but he's always gonna miss his mom. But we could you agree that now that we're talking about this, could you agree that we should have probably eased into bringing you all back out, or eased into it?
Yes.
So it's like us as dudes who's like, come on, come hang out. It's like, no, it's not hang out time.
Yeah.
We should have eased in.
It's
not
comfort.
Yeah, it shouldn't have
like,
been your
just
girls.
be there.
Yeah, your girls shouldn't be like, let's go here, let's go there. It's more like, let's take a walk, let's chill, let's just okay.
Or like offer, like, let's talk about it. You want to, like, man to man, or y'all were boys then, but like, you want to talk about it, like, what does it look like to you now? What does reality look like to you now? And if he don't want to talk about it, he don't want to talk about it. Let's talk about, hey, did you see who won the Super Bowl? Like, just something, because
But I feel like
ease into it.
We was trying to ease in. We weren't easing into it. We was trying
you just
to
didn't understand.
Come back, pop up on the scene. And that ain't the way to get you back.
You thought he was the same person he was before he lost his mom, which is the next point. I think that a lot of people don't know. No one tells you that when you lose someone, you turn into a different person. That person that you once was before losing your loved one, that person also died with your loved one. Like, I can say that, I can attest to that. I feel like when my mom was here, I was so much more naive, and I relied on her for everything. But without her, it made me boss up in a way. It made me put myself first. It made me really tend to me instead of just saying, like, I was a person that just goes with the flow. You need something, sure, I'm jumping to be there. Not necessarily doing things I wanted to do. And I think losing my mom taught me, no, it's about you. Yeah. What do you have one life to live, and how are you gonna, live a better life than she was able to while she was here? Yeah. So yeah, I think that you really, to, I guess, make it short and simple, for me at least, I saw just how real life is with losing my mother because I was so close. I saw that you could literally be here and healthy 1 minute, and then you literally could be gone like that. Yeah. Like, life is real, and I feel like I remember specifically when my mom passed, and my friends had their moment where they, consoled me and they were there for me, but I feel like conversations like in our group chats and stuff kind of went back to normal. Like, people just tend, even outside of my friends, people just tend to go back to normal. And it's like, I don't know what that is anymore. Yeah, normal because life got real. You know what I'm saying? It got so real. So, yeah.
I know most definitely you change. And
you feel like I changed in our marriage and how I do certain things, or just as a person?
I won't say you shut down more. And I understood it, though. So, as the person helping, as the support system, I'm going off the support. But as the support, you have to realize what has occurred, and you have to notice the changes and see how do you fit into the equation. Not taking offense, but how do you fit into the equation? How can you assist? How can you assist as far as stepping back or giving them their space because they still want space? Or how can you assist as far as, like, okay, what can I do to step up? Like, I can say honestly, I talked about this in my interview. It's this thing in me, or it might have been a childhood F-ups episode, but it's this thing in me to protect. And because I had a little sister, so of course with, like, your mom passing, it was like, okay, now of course I can't replace her, but I gotta make my wife feel more comfortable,
Mm-hmm.
or I gotta step up, take that lunge forward, and just be a comforter. Like,
Mm-hmm.
okay, and yeah, you just gotta recognize that change is gonna happen as a support,
Yeah.
and just know. And I say recognize it and acknowledge it because you don't want them to go down a slippery slope.
Yeah.
Because somebody can be changing for the better or changing for the worse, or and the worst is what you don't want to see.
And naturally, we shut down. Like, I
Yeah.
think that's, I like that you said that because it's not something we intentionally do. It's just that one, we're trying to process like what just happened, or the fact that, like, dang, like, there's some days when I literally will just wake up, every day's a good day, and I'm like, dang, my mama really not here. Like, that's crazy to me. Like, I've had her my whole life. How is she not here? And so it's just processing. And then also, we feel like you don't understand. Like, if we were to explain, like, this is what's going on, just naturally, we feel like y'all just won't understand because you didn't lose your mom. You're not
Hmm.
a woman who lost your mom, so it's just, yeah.
Now to clear up things,
Yeah.
it doesn't matter if you're a woman or a man.
Yeah.
If you lose your mom or parent, it's really really tough, especially if they was in your life.
Yeah.
I even changed though, like,
Yeah.
and the things that I've seen, I've even changed because
I can tell your patience has
yeah,
really
yeah,
gotten way
and
better since
I'm
then.
more appreciative.
Yeah.
Um, it was a I would say it's kind of a survivor's guilt type of thing with my
Mhm.
boy Biscuit, because he was a big dog. I'm a big dog, and sometimes I'll be like, man, I was bigger than him, and why not me? Or is somebody way bigger, and like, how are they? You know what I'm saying? How are they lucky to
Yeah.
still be here? And I started to change as far as at the moms, it was just like, what I'm saying, appreciate life
Mhm.
and live it to the fullest and to the utmost. Live it unapologetically.
Mhm.
Um, Go after what you want, because once it's all said and done, once your clock stop ticking, it is what it is,
Yeah.
and it ain't what it ain't.
Yeah.
Um, so I'm most grateful now. I'm more. I had to go. I had to go in my isolation and think,
Yeah.
but I'm very analytical,
Mhm.
and I just had to think like, yo, if they was here, what would they want to do, or what would they be saying do? And like I said,
Mhm.
them two people was, I'm trying to do my food business and things of that nature. I know I will be so much further with them, so I'm like,
Yeah.
man, but I still got to keep going because now I know be grateful and still go after it. So
Yeah.
change is inevitable.
Yeah. Yeah. Especially speaking of change, that's another point. Brings me to my next point. Of things that people don't tell you about grief. I
Oh,
think you kind of suspect it if we say it. You're like, oh, it makes sense, but you don't really prepare yourself for how much you're gonna change. It's the family dynamic. No one prepares you or tells you that your family is gonna change. That dynamic as a whole. I can tell you from my personal point of view. My mother, so it's two people who are backbones of our my immediate family, and that's my mother and my grandmother, Mama Nisi, who's still living. Thank God. So blessed. She's a big part of why I've been able to just keep a clear mind and keep going, and just she's my wisdom that pours into me when I need it.
Mama Nisi the homie.
Shout out to Mama Nisi. But yeah, nobody told me that, when my mom passed, like, even with my siblings, because my siblings, my dad, my mom was a source that everybody called my mom. And then whenever we would, keep in touch with my mom, and I would find out like how my brother sometimes was doing from talking to mom, and she would be like, yeah, Amila has this game or that, or this is the update with Jeff or Sean. Like, I hadn't talked to Sean. Mommy, you talked to Sean? Yeah, this is what's going on. Jay and Sean are doing good. Da, da, da. And that was I think for all of us, she was our check-in point.
Your communication beacon. She was like,
Yes.
yeah.
And even with Nisi, like, yeah, I talked to Nisi. We're supposed to do this or to go here. She was just our point of contact she was our main source. And so once she was taken out of that,
Once mom was taken out of that.
mom was taken out of that. Once my mom was taken out of that, I feel like I tried to step in there and be that, but then I was like, okay, this is overwhelming because I don't know, I'm not used to it, and I'm still trying to recharge myself. So it's just changed. The more time has gone on, family, we all are doing our own things. We're not, we're close. That's not what I'm saying, but we're not. I try to make a point to try and check on people now, but it's not. I don't know. It's not how it was.
You don't think it's as good because
She was on
good at
it.
it.
She
was
did
good
it.
at
She
it.
talked to you every day, like. And in my life, it's like I have so much going on a day-to-day basis. It may slip my mind, like, hey, check on Jeff. Hey, check on Sean. Hey, check on Dad. And I just don't,
I most definitely understand when a matriarch or a strong source of the family leaves. I remember my cousin at my grandma's funeral, and he was pretty like hurt. Like, y'all need to stop and think like what just really happened. Because my grandma was the one. She had a house, and she had her siblings came over and holidays. And when she left, even though they had been stopped kind of coming over, but even when she got sicker and didn't just move and groove, a lot of the stuff fell by the wayside. A lot, but some of her siblings picked it up. So I think it's a good thing too if you are living and you know that you are the source of a family. You know when you're the source. You know it. You know when you the captain. Groom somebody.
Yeah.
Because grooming somebody can help the situation, ease it on. We always gonna be hurt when you're gone, but groom somebody, let them know they're confident. That's a big thing in life.
Yeah.
Like even with kids coming up, let them know that okay, you're strong enough. You can wield and you can will yourself. You can do just as great things as if not better than me.
Yeah.
Like my homeboy, he was the source for his family, and when he left, it was like he went through a lot, but he stayed strong. And even I can think I'm gonna put it to even in our fraternity, like he was like a connection. Like it's some you in the fraternity, but there's some people you just don't mess with.
Yeah.
And y'all cool, but I'm like he was cool on every avenue. And did I take a step back? Yeah. And did I go to probably the bros that it's like that sometimes, but and it is. I would say it is what it is. That it sounds so shallow, but it's just something that happens. But like I said, the biggest thing we can do is groom the next person. Like show a person your ways. Don't.
Yeah.
I know this probably going on a tangent, but like setting up things like I think you're working on like Easter for the family, right?
So my family normally does family reunion once a year and Easter, in my family's hometown or where our family originated from.
Yeah.
But we had another matriarch pass that was over Easter, and COVID happened, so we hadn't seen family in 3 years almost.
So that's where I say we have to groom as those leaders. We have to groom the next generation, the next ones coming up. And to the ones coming up, I think with better grooming, then they'll step up. Like you're still stepping up, so you still was kind of groomed.
Yeah.
But I would love for people to start giving them more confidence, because
like you got this.
Yeah, you don't want Easter, you don't want holidays and stuff to go by the wayside, because in a world where everything is going digital and
fast
and in this other type of space, like we're losing viable relationships and things. We don't know who cousins is. We don't know.
I'm
and
still learning.
That's off the chain.
Yeah.
So let's groom the next generation. And family does change, but let's realize everybody has a part to play in this. So and no part is bigger than the next, and anybody can tackle it.
And I will say that has happened, even though I do recognize that some of our matriarchs have passed on. It did ignite a fire in me to be like, okay, let me step up, or let me see if I can encourage my other cousins to, like, listen, I'm willing to take the lead if I have to, but, like, who gonna back me up? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
right.
How can we as the younger generation get it moving? And shout out to my cousins Beverly and Gay and Chris and just my whole, family.
Everybody who helping
everybody
out.
who's helping out.
You know who you are.
Y'all know who y'all are.
Y'all greatly
yes.
appreciate it.
But I'm thankful that I do come from a family that we all kind of see that and notice that, and we collectively come together. No, these traditions are not finna die. So definitely encourage you all. Want to let you all know that family dynamic is going to change, but don't let it. Don't let it. Keep doing what you have to do to carry that on, because if you don't, then they would have done all their planning to build traditions for nothing. For nothing. You know? Yeah. So, moving outside of that topic, I feel like no one also tells you just about depression as a whole with losing a loved one, and that is actually so dark. Right. I was hesitant to talk about this because I was like, I don't know, but I feel like it's necessary.
I would also group. I would group those together.
Yeah, anxiety,
depression, and anxiety.
Social anxiety. Yeah.
All those negative things. Hey, you go ahead.
Now, I will say on anxiety, I feel like isolation heightened my anxiety and my social anxiety because when I started, now I am starting to push myself back out there. But what I'm noticing is that around crowds of people, I'm like antsy, I'm nervous, I'm like, oh my God, like say something, like don't sound dumb. I'm like paying more close attention to like how I come off, and I'm not, I don't know, I overthink, and I'm just nervous, naturally nervous. So I can say isolation did have that effect on me with social anxiety in a way that I kind of always had social anxiety, but not to the extent now. Like now I full blown freak out when I'm in crowds of people, and I get like, we'll be in a grocery store or something, and he'll be like, let me take my time and then if too many people start walking past, I'm like, babe, like we gotta go. Like okay, we need to speed this up. Like I start freaking out. And I think that's why, like, something about large crowds of people make me so uncomfortable. And I can't explain it. But anyway, back onto depression. As a kid, because I was a chubbier kid, I used to think that I dealt with depression, which I think I did. And I'm going to save that for another topic in terms of deeper into that as my depression as a kid. But I feel like this year, last episode, I think, or the episode before our last interview, I kind of talked about what happened to me in February with my iron being super low. And I just feel like that was the first time I had a real episode of depression. And I couldn't even explain it to my husband, but it felt like I felt unsafe. Not because of my husband or anything. I feel completely safe with my husband, but I felt unsafe in a way of like, I feel like, am I finna die? I'm on edge. I'm like, you kind of see the darkness in the world. If I can properly, it's like you see life and you feel life from a different perspective that comes from something rooted in darkness. Right. If that's the best way I can put it. But to feel it, I was like, man, I know I didn't feel that type of depression from grief specifically, to an extent, because I did start thinking about mom. But there are people that feel that way, not from a health issue, but they feel that way from grief. Like, darn, like my person is not here. Yeah. And no matter what I go through or how I feel, I can't do anything to get them back. And it gets so dark. Nobody tells you. Like, I had a friend I haven't really talked about, but she took her life. I didn't know she struggled with depression. She was on medication and stuff with depression, and I never really understood depression to that extent. I knew we watched 13 Reasons Why and stuff like that, and so I knew. And as a person that had mild depression as a kid, I knew about, but I didn't know how dark it can get. Like, I always wondered what would make somebody take their life, and how I felt in February. I'm not saying I wanted to, but I'm saying I felt so bad that I was like, bro, I don't want to feel this pain. I don't want to feel this way. Like, I really broke down. I think I kind of broke you down. Like, I was just in such a bad headspace. I was on edge. I didn't want to be left alone. Like, if he was like, I'm going to run to the grocery store, I don't know. It felt dark. But yeah, nobody tells you about that.
Depression is a very dark thing. Like I said, mine came from more so feeling guilty. That negative self talk, you have to you hear it, but you have to drown it out with the positive. That's the only thing I can suggest that you do. Um, I don't never say like sit in it and bask in it. No, don't do that.
No,
You
not
gotta have
depression.
some redirection. I read a book, Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill, and it's auto suggestion, and it's like anytime something comes up to be like, Josh, you're not good enough. Like, nah, bro, I'm good enough times 3 million.
1 million.
You
Yeah.
know, so it's always that negative self talk trying to creep in, and if you just let it keep doing it and you soaking and basking in it, it's overwhelming. It'll take you over. You'll go to a dark space, and like you said, it does affect the person supporting you, the person trying to help you through it or thinking they're helping you through it, and when it's like it's nothing you can do, you're helpless to help the person that you love that's battling this thing. So
How did you feel though during that time? Like, did you understand what I was feeling, or like?
I understood, but I don't think I was able to get. Now I'm talking about auto suggestion and blocking out that negative self talk, but I didn't know how to communicate that to you. And because I didn't know how to communicate or feel like at that time you was gonna be receptive, it was like at this point I'm not helping. Now it's hurting me, and I broke down. I had a moment where I broke down, and I told you, we still had to go and do some stuff, and you was like, "Come on, we good." You kind of got chipper and like, "Oh," but I still was like, I had to go through that and feel like I had to draw strength from that. So I told you go to the car, and I still had to have my moment of crying tears, but I had to draw that strength, like, okay, bro, what are we gonna do? And that's when I kind of was like, okay, I'm on board. Whatever doctor checkups we got to do to help, and I can say, honestly, I feel like it's paid off.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's where we learned about the iron pills and stuff like that. So that's why I say you never sit in it. I was getting depressed at that moment. It was taking me over, but I didn't sit in it. I cried my cry as a man, and I told myself, okay, bro, we back on it. I don't care. A diamond has multi sides to it, and we're strong as a diamond. So we finna find a way to get to it. So
Yeah. And depression just. So I realized I had my experience with depression because of nutrition or lack of nutrition, a specific nutrition from my body. Which makes me think, and now is I can tell it's way higher. Doctor's appointment next Friday, but I can tell that it's way higher in my mood. So it makes me think with depression, is it also, we know that we get depression because we're sad from losing a loved one.
yeah,
But is the depression also fueled by what we're eating? Because sometimes when we're sad and we're going through things, I know for me, if you are on my personal YouTube channel, Michi G, I have an episode about that, about addiction and how I had food addiction. My food addiction was sugar, sweet stuff I didn't need.
yeah.
I wasn't eating the right nutritional things. And so is that playing a part in your depression as well?
I think it most definitely does, because
I think so too.
when you talk about eating certain things, like you said, sugar makes you groggy, and that only ignites the negative self-talk. So now you're groggy, don't want to do nothing. So now guess what you finna do? You finna lay down, and
It affects your
your
mood.
brain is about to
Yeah.
keep going. Hey, man, you ain't good. Excuse me, man, you not good enough, or mama not here. You not strong as mama. You not you can't do as good as your boy. Like, so yeah, we gotta watch what we eat. Like,
Yeah.
that is, look, I'm no help.
Watch what we put in our bodies,
In
because
our bodies.
sometimes alcohol and other substances
Right.
play a part in that as well.
I can tell y'all, honestly, look, if you gonna smoke, drink, do your thug thizzle, I don't really recommend it when you're going through things. I really don't recommend it anymore, because at some point this past year, I did get on I would like to say my chieftain thing. I was a chieftain. I was smoking and just I don't know. Maybe I was going through something mentally. I might need to dive into that deeper, but I did notice, and this one I just stopped, and I was like, yo, I've never been depressed as, like, it was like the negative self-talk. I couldn't even block it out.
It was heightened.
It was heightened. It was on 10. And then I started to see other people say, yo, I need to put down the Mary Jane because I'm becoming more depressed. So, yo, watch that stuff. I'm sorry. I'm not sorry, but I'm just saying watch it. Not everything coats with your body. It's certain, so many strands of like Mary Jane and things of that nature. You gotta, if you're gonna do it, find what works for you, but not everything
is good for your
just
body.
be mindful.
I feel like we kind of getting off topic, but on topic. Like in that case of like substances, I feel like a lot of people, and this wasn't a point, but nobody tells you that like it's okay to feel what you're feeling and to face whatever the problem is. I feel like sometimes we use alcohol and other substances because we're uncomfortable. We're trying to hide how we feel. We're trying to keep from feeling that horrible feeling. But sometimes
feel it, but face it.
Yes, it's good to face it and work through it. And then if you want to have a little sip, a little smoke, a little whatever, cool. But like, don't try to cover it up by that. You know what I'm saying? Because you're going to do twice as much damage to not only yourself, but the people around you that love you.
Yeah.
And that's a whole nother topic for another time. But yeah, so if you're going through depression, I want to encourage you to kind of look at what you're also eating, because yes, it's normal to have depression from losing someone. But sometimes food and how we eat and what we put in our body feeds our depression as well.
Nobody told us that.
Nobody told us that. It does. All right, listen. So moving forward, the next topic, or the next subtopic, no one tells you that the strongest person is usually, I won't say the weakest, but they usually struggle the most. Why do you think that is? The strongest person usually struggles the most.
Cause the strongest person is faced with, you already put EST on it. So strongest means you're already at the top of them totem pole. So to be stronger than strong-ish, you have to go to stronger-ist. And I know it probably don't make sense, but it's like it's like at this point, I have to go to a height that's, I have to push past strongest. I'm already that strong. Like, how much more do you want from me? Like, what more can I give? Like, I'm already giving so much, and I just need my moment. How can I give you more when I just need my moment? So I feel like that strongest person just, you got to check on your strong friends.
Yeah, I think that a lot of times the strongest person, I'm going to say we because I have been that person, so now I've backed off. But initially when I lost my mom, I felt like I had to be that strongest person. I feel like probably me and my sister probably was battling subconsciously of like trying to just be there for everybody, and we struggled back into the isolation thing. I felt like that's another reason I had to isolate, because it's like I was pouring so much into so many people. It's like I couldn't even be there for myself. I couldn't check in for myself. And I think outside of myself, a lot of people that are being strong, though they won't tell you, like for example, we were talking about your mom. She just had
straight up, when you're the strongest person, sometimes people don't check on you. Sometimes people think you got it. I don't have to check. I've always been growing up, and I mean, I'm gonna button up my shirt for this.
Not the button up.
But one
Excuse
second, my
the
bad. I'm
train
sorry.
in the background.
Yeah, we got a train in the background, so if y'all hear a little rumbling, we apologize. But as a strong person, right? Like, I'm gonna give you mom's instance. My mom, she went through somewhere, she had to get a little surgery or whatever, and she had to sit in there, and it wasn't too many people checking on her as far as like what she would do for somebody else. They weren't coming through. They was just like, oh, she got it. But in essence, I went home and I sat with moms and really helped her and stuff. And like you started to realize that this strong person, I think my mom is Superwoman. That she's my hero. I'm not gonna even say Superwoman. She's my hero. She's Josh's hero. If you ever want to ask, it's my mama. And you know what I'm saying? I had to see my hero feel like she didn't have no help. And every hero needs help sometime. And like when people don't give it to you, man, that's what it made. I can be honest, it made moms probably slip into a little depression. And it's like you check on your strong friends. Like folks didn't check on me. They like, nah, Josh got it, he respectful. But sometimes I was like, am I good enough? That's where I feel like my negative self-talk came from, because it's like, am I good enough? And sometimes I will fail, but I'm like, they already expect me to be this. It's like sometimes be like, bro, I ain't got no expectations. I just want to let you know, like, you doing good. How are you doing? Like, check on that strong person, bro. It's nobody.
Yeah.
Everybody is equal, bro. We're born equal. You can live like somebody else. You can die like somebody else. Like, stop.
And I think from a kid's perspective of looking at your parent, because our parents are our superheroes, and in our mind, I think my brother just said in the last episode or interview, like, we thought my mama, she was one of the strongest people that we knew. So naturally, we didn't think about, even up until the last minute with my mom, I was like, my mama ain't finna die. My mama ain't never died before. Like, she done conquered everything. So, like, we just assume that our parents are these superheroes, that we don't do it on purpose, but we just assume that, like, they got it. And I think it's a cycle that we do that to other people, our friends who are strong. I ain't never seen them weak and fall off and get depressed, and so I know they got it. But it's like, I think the key element is we forget that people are human. It doesn't matter how it looks. Oh, they got it together, they got this picture perfect family, or these kids, or whatever it is you think looks good on the outside. On the inside, every single person you see is human. Oprah Winfrey, who do we think is perfect? I don't know. Whoever you think is perfect, they're human.
That's the basis of this podcast. Yes, we're going to someday have people who have, I guess, higher financial statuses than others on this podcast, or social status, but everybody is human. So we don't care if you're our neighbor. We don't care if you're driving down the street. If you want to be a part of this podcast and share some light, we are here because you are human and you can help somebody. Like, yeah.
And nobody has all the answers, but yeah.
I'm off my soapbox.
But yeah, to wrap that up, nobody tells you that the strongest person. So if you're the strongest person, be aware of that. You're gonna struggle the most. Is it alleviate yourself of of feeling like you have to be the strongest? You don't have to be the strongest.
So alleviate that mindset of feeling like you have to have this
you have to take care of everything.
You're not a superhero.
Yeah.
Like I said, moms, you are my hero, but you're not a superhero. You're not indestructible. So sometimes to those people, to me, I had to learn, like, sometimes if you need help, you ask for help. Put that pride to the side. Let that ego go. Let go of your ego, and be normal, because we all normal. And when it's all said and done, and our number is called, hey,
yeah,
it is what it is.
Yeah. And then with just the talk of grief as a whole, and grieving, the act of actually grieving, the next point is no one tells you that grieving does not get easier, and it does not go away. I don't think I've ever heard anyone say, oh, it's gonna get easier. But I think that's a feeling that we have of, like, it's gotta, like, it hurts so bad right now, it's gotta get easier.
Right.
And it actually doesn't, unfortunately.
What's up, ILM? I Lost My Podcast listeners and viewers. I gotta take this moment just to tell you, we need your help. Support us, support the podcast, be a super listener, a super viewer. All you have to do is donate anything. Penny, dollar, nickel, it doesn't matter. We appreciate it all. And it's simple to do. All you have to do is go to PayPal, Cash App, or Venmo and type in I Lost My Podcast, all lowercase. That's right, I Lost My Podcast, all lowercase. It's simple. We're trying to grow this channel, and we want to grow with you. And you want to see us do better things, right? Come on, we need better equipment. But until then, we're going to let you get back to this podcast. I know it's interesting, right? Yeah, I know.
So I feel like, yeah, we're told that it doesn't get any, or we're not told that. I guess we expect that it's gonna get easier, and it actually doesn't. I think we kind of I don't know, maybe that's that hope or optimism that we feel that, it's gotta get better because it hurts right now. it has to get better. But I honestly feel like though it won't get better, it won't get easier. I feel like you learn to cope with it better.
Right.
The more you work through grief, so maybe it's going to counseling, maybe it's trying different activities to honor your loved one. I feel like you have to just get a better coping skill set when it comes to grief. Would you agree?
Yeah. I often hear it gets easier. It may get easier if you lose a dog or something, but it doesn't get easier when you lose a human. And even then, depending on how attached you are to your animal. But the biggest thing is you learn to cope, and you have to work diligently. You have to take it upon yourself to work diligently to find different effective coping mechanisms, positive coping mechanisms. I know I talked to a friend, and the biggest thing is when certain holidays come around, they feel a certain type of way because it reminds them of them certain person and that person that they lost. And I feel like I offered a great coping mechanisms to maybe do something and honor them like special or something. So or if you feel like you missing moms, like go and make her favorite dish, or listen to like a cool song, a happy song that she like I'm sorry, that's on me, baby, you can't, it's kind of hard for you
Right,
to
we
be
crack up.
so the biggest thing is finding something to cope with, positive.
And then also kind of tying into that, the next point is that there's this idea that there's a perfect way to grieve, or if you're struggling with grief, know that there's not a grief model, or there's no perfect way to grieve. You just kind of figure it out, because grief is so complex and it's different for everybody. You got to figure out what works for you. So because isolation works for me, you might be a super people person, and being around people is comfort for you, and isolation makes you feel like, ooh, it's the opposite. So it's just figure out what works best for you, because it is happening to you. So don't listen to this person telling you isolation is amazing if you know isolation makes you uncomfortable. So don't have that ideal scale or model, that there's this ideal grief model.
It's not. It's always, as much as we as humans try to put as much as we try to put meaning to things, and this educational thing, and like, okay, so you got to follow this grief model, like we don't know. We don't know. And once you accept that you don't know and just go through it and feel and maneuver and learn from it, like, you just have to go through that stage is what I'm trying to get to. There's no such thing as a perfect way to grieve. My perfect way isn't your perfect way. So
that's even in life. Like the way I handle a situation may not be how you handle a situation, because our personalities are different,
Right. All we can offer is suggestions, offer another way to solve a problem. I always tell people, like, it's a million ways to solve one problem.
To skin a cat.
Yeah, to skin a cat. It's a million ways. So just work through it. Positively work through it. Long as you're working through it and making progress, make some progress. Like, don't stop. If you stop and you go backwards, you can't go backwards, for one. You can read bad occurring, like, behaviors recur and stuff like that, but just keep pushing for one step, one foot at a time.
Small steps are better than no steps. And it's not going to be quick.
Right. I was reading Atomic Habits, and we always think it's this. I read Atomic Habits and Choose Possibility. And we always think in Choose Possibility, they talk about risk. You always think it's this grandiose risk that the superhero reaches, and it's life or death risk to get this reward. And that's not true. It's small risks that amount to you taking a big risk. And same thing with Atomic Habits. It's small habits. You change small habits. They talk about the British or German biking team, but they took and looked at the bike and why they were so sucky and crappy, but they took this small tweak, and this small tweak in habits changing them, and you get to the big goal. So, yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. So baby steps. Okay.
and baby step.
Baby steps, and it's not going to happen overnight. Now also, even in coping at your own pace, don't think that, okay, just because I figured out how to cope with it, like it's gonna get easier. No, you just again learn how to cope with it better. And it's because, like, even on my grief journey, there are a lot of my days now, especially now that I feel a lot more healthier. um my good ways do outweigh my bad, but that doesn't mean that I found the perfect way to grieve, because I don't have as many bad days as I used to. I still will randomly have, be going about my life like normal, and boom, it'll hit me out of nowhere, and I'll get sad about my mom, or I'll have this achievement, and I'm like, darn, my first thing to do was to always call my mom, and realize, dang, I can't do it. Now I'm spiraling into sadness. And so that happens often. It's probably going to happen the more we achieve in life. It's going to happen because you want that person to be there, but you just got to figure out along the way better coping skills. You always got to, and coping skills don't stay the same. So because you're at this point in your life, this is your coping skill, whatever that is. The higher you go, or the longer you live in life, also your progression with coping skills is gonna have to also change.
I know you just said like coping skills don't stay the same. What coping skills have you had that have changed, or could you share? Like,
I think the biggest coping skill to me is realizing that it's okay to, like, I sit with myself and think, and I analyze myself all the time, and I'm comfortable analyzing myself and why I do things. And because of that, I cope by understanding myself, if that makes sense. I feel like a lot of people, instead of wanting to dig deep within themselves, they just want to cover up or hide things. They want to cope in different ways that doesn't, it's like the root of everything we go through is us. It's like, why do we do this, or why do we handle things this way? And I think that the answer is within us. So if we can tackle ourselves first, for me, that's my biggest coping mechanism. And it's just circumstantial depending on the day.
so you just saying, is it not less? I guess like what I'm thinking is an activity. So is it just more general, like you just sit and chill and
writing, meditation?
So writing.
Yeah, more so writing.
More so writing than meditation.
Because I can write out how I'm feeling and check in with myself, instead of just feeling what I'm feeling and sitting in my feelings. I guess I'm coping better by writing it out. And it's therapeutic, I guess. Yeah.
Okay. And I think a big thing about writing too, I got to touch on that. A big thing about writing is you can always look back and see your growth. Yes. You can see where you come from. So, even if you was going through, or if something else, if something reoccurs, you can look and be like, how did I get myself out of that? So I feel like writing is a great thing to do. And I know a lot of people don't like to write, so get in your notepad and your phone and do that or something.
Well, so I was randomly on social media, and somebody was talking about how they hate writing, like the diary thing. And so they were like, they're challenging themselves to record themselves every 3 months in a year. And I think that I might start that, doing visual entries, journal entries, because sometimes it helps for you to see, like, okay, this is how my skin was 3 months ago. This is how my eyes, how I can look at myself and tell I was stressed out. What was I going through at that time? Like, I feel like it's better to see yourself. So maybe try expressing yourself. If you don't like to write through, just recording on your phone and check in with yourself every 3 months.
Yeah, I'm a 90s baby, so of course I watched Moesha and things like As Told by Ginger. So of course I'm gonna say, man, get that pen out, get that pen and paper out.
I mean,
and get back to
try what works.
But yeah, I'm not knocking you. I'm just saying, me personally, get that pen out. But that is my bad. I'm sorry to cut you off, but that is an awesome way to like visually see yourself too, like,
because you see your growth over the month. So much happens that we don't realize just in a month, every month. Like 2 months ago, I was not the same person as I was mentally, physically. So that's a big thing. Another coping skill, maybe try just doing something to honor that loved one, to keep their memory alive. Like sometimes it helps people if they think about it. I don't know. Or if you don't want to think too deep into your loved one, just do something to honor them. Maybe hold a tea thing for ladies. If you're some woman that has lost their mother, do an event for women going through the same thing you're going through. I don't know. It just depends on who you are as a person.
Like, I know one thing, when my boy Biscuit passed away, a coping skill was, we started this thing, Operation Big Biscuit, and we got in the gym, and though I go and I fall off sometimes, I gotta apply one of my brothers, Marlon Anderson. Whoa, I just said his government. But anyway, but shout out to Marley G, man. Like, he really got in that gym, and I feel like he took it to depths that I wish I would have did even better. But I still hit the gym and stuff. But my journey is different from his. But he real deal got in there and like really focused on making working out a priority. And that was his coping skill, and he got into great shape and took his health by the horns, and yeah. And I'm back in the gym, I do what I do. I get on the bench, do what I gotta do. You know what I'm saying?
How much you bench pressing?
Man, I ain't gotta tell out my business, but nah, seriously,
I see the muscles.
Yeah,
Okay.
I ain't gonna do all that, but yeah, man, just find you some positive coping skills.
Which can also tie into the next and last point. I feel like if you don't find coping skills, you can spiral into negative habits. No one tells you that there are better ways to cope with grief than substances. We kind of touched on it earlier, but I don't think people realize first the magnitude of, just outside of yourself, of how substances affect not only you but the people around you. I feel like, to me, and maybe it's because I've been in addiction, well, I witnessed addiction, but personally I've witnessed addiction with food in deeper ways than I've explained on camera. So I get the habit of it being a fight and a struggle to let us, not handling what's the issue, and just it's easier to rely on whatever that substance is. But I think at some point we have to take accountability and take a step back to really look into what is going on that's making me do this thing, especially if you see that what you're doing is affecting other people, your family who loves you. Because the fact of the matter is, addiction and my sister actually said this, and it stuck with me to this day from her session. But she said addiction robs you of valuable time with your loved ones, and it does, because what happens is, let's say alcohol. If you're someone that drinks alcohol a lot, and you turn into a different person when you're on alcohol, now your loved one is not gonna, we love you, but it's like, you turn into like this negative person.
It's the whole Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde.
Yes. It's like, you're not my loved one that I love and I know when you're sober. And I don't think that people understand like how that makes you feel.
Yeah, it hurts you, the person trying to love on them and care for them, because I think essentially is like, my dad dealt with alcoholism and all that stuff, but you eventually get to that point where you're like, man, look, I'm gonna remove myself, and then you come to a realization like, I know it is what it is, but you come to this realization like, if anything happens, it's on you, and I tried, and you don't want to feel like that. And as much as you try to detaching hurts.
It does.
Detaching hurts, but detaching is also necessary for your mental. So, I don't ever want to detach from a person because of substances. But if it's necessary,
we will.
if it's necessary to those people trying to help, you got to do what you got to do.
And I think to those that may be watching this or listening that are struggling with, whether it's drugs, alcohol, sex, whatever, anything that's causing harm, know that you have family and friends that love you, but that they're not going to let anything. Some of us care about ourselves to the point where it's like, okay, my mental health has to stay intact. Like, I love you, and it's never going to be any bad blood, but if I got to take a step away and not talk to you for a period of time for my own protection, I got to do that. And thus, like we were saying, that robs you of valuable moments. Because, there's times when, I guess in my own personal life, I want to tell a family member, hey, this is what's going on. I started a podcast. I did this big venture. I'm doing this, and like, here's the update. This is going on, but I can't because they're so deep in their addiction. Even if I told them, they wouldn't understand. And this is valuable moments, like, So I think going back to our previous point, really figure out a positive coping skill. One, really sit with your emotions and process. If you need help, go get a therapist. Don't be afraid to look into therapy or find a positive circle, focus groups. Don't ever think or be too prideful to think that, okay, I can't ask for help because people think that I'm the strong person, or as a man or as a woman, I'm the strong person. Us as black people have that bad, thinking we have to be the strong person. It's like, no, you come first. You are important. Everybody in your family needs you. Even outside of your family, this world needs you. There's not another you. No matter what your circumstance is, take care of you.
So I'm gonna take the floor and say, gentlemen, I gotta speak to my gentlemen. Let go of that. Let go of that. Those negative notions, those stereotypes that men don't express themselves. To the guys that's been on this podcast, thank y'all. Or you can't. To the guys that's been already interviewing for this podcast and stuff, thank you all for expressing yourself. It's okay to express yourself, gentlemen. Young men, older men, young boys, like, it's okay to express yourself. It doesn't make you less of a man. It doesn't make you weak. And sometimes weak is okay.
And as a woman, because obviously this is my husband, I think there's a notion that you have to be strong for if you have a lady, because women are going to see you as weak. Now, are there women out there that are like that? Yes. They'll be like, if you crying or vulnerable, they're mentally immature and they can't help that. So that's where you have to be decisive in knowing what type of woman that you have, because a real woman is going to see you be vulnerable and express yourself, and she's going to say, how can we work through this together? Right. I'm not going to look at you no different. I love you, and I'm not going to judge you for how you may feel, but I want us to actively work. And you have to trust your lady enough, men out there. You have to trust your lady enough to know that she actually is your backbone. Right. If God was to take out your backbone right now, would you be standing? No. So know that you have a woman there, or whoever you,
and vice versa.
Whatever you like, your partner is there to be your backbone. Lean on them.
It's it's a balance. The nature, a nurturing aspect. Men, we have to nurture more. Women, you have to nurture less. It's a balancing act, and I'm saying that in the sense of you know where everybody is. Like, okay, you nurture me and be like, how's your feelings? Once you nurture me, don't let me sit in it. Tell me, okay, babe, time to get back up.
Progress, yes.
So, that's a whole nother topic.
Yes, we're not going to go
there.
there.
We ain't going to do all that.
But to sum up the last point, really lean off of, try if you can. I know sometimes life gets hard. It will continue to get hard because life is just ebbs and flows, ups and downs. So try to really assess yourself and what you have going on and how you feel. Find if you can get to the root of it, and try not to lean so much on, I don't want to think about it, I'm going to just drink today. Or I don't want to think about it, I'm going to just smoke something, or whatever it is that your vice is. Or I'm just going to have sex and not think about it because that feels amazing. Like, really focus on what the problem is. So I think that's the last point for the most part, guys. I hope that this episode made you feel like, okay, I'm not losing my mind. I'm not going crazy. Okay, so this is normal. Yes. Welcome to the wonderful world of grief. I say that sarcastically because it is a journey. It is tough. Depending on your circumstances, there are people out there that have lost everything: their father, their parents, their spouse, their children, their siblings, and it's tough. It's tough to do. So I pray that something we said today touches your heart and your soul and your mind. I pray that you go back and watch previous episodes. This episode, 7? So, I really hope that we help someone. You got any closing remarks?
My only closing remarks is, I love you. I love you. I love you. I love you. And love and respect is the bottom line things that you can offer and what you must offer in this world. So always remember that. But with that being said, that's nothing. So I'm gonna work on my exit thing. I may have lost my podcast, but I found your beautiful soul.
Oh, we'll see you guys next week, guys.
Tune in. We got an interview next week. My bad. We got an interview next week, so make sure you tune in.
Yes.
It's a good one.
If you're watching on YouTube, make sure you subscribe on our channel. I Lost My Podcast. Subscribe. Hit that red subscribe button. And also, make sure you're sharing this. A simple share goes a long way. So we're not saying... No, what we're saying is simply share. A simple share goes a long way. We thank you. We love you. I lost my podcast, but I found your beautiful soul. Yep. All right. Over and out.